Risk was going to be high this weekend. Local counties trying to get that word out, as we just talked about, asking people not to burn anything. But how's that threat looking right now? Hey, Rachel, I want to bring you into this. So where does the fire threat stand right now? Is it starting to go down a bit here?
It is starting to go down just a little bit. It's still so dry out there. That really hasn't changed. Fortunately, though, the winds have come down. And so we've got calm conditions out there in most locations. So even if that fire gets started, which is still such a possibility, which is why that outdoor burning still remains discouraged at this time, it won't spread as quickly, at least not tonight. This is going to be changing, and what you're noticing on your screen, the air quality alerts that are in place in different parts of the Carolinas from some of the wildfires that have gotten going, and it's certainly not helping with the air quality at this time. But I want to draw your attention out towards the west. Most of what you're seeing on your screen are wind alerts in advance of the system that's going to be moving in the area. We were just talking about it on Wednesday, and we're going to see those winds pick right back up. We'll see rainfall, we'll see more moisture, and that'll help. But in the interim, tomorrow's going to be our transition day where we're going to start to see the moisture increase just a little bit, but it's still going to be dry. And we're going to have the wind gusts pick back up. So by tomorrow afternoon, evening especially, that's what these wind gusts will look like. We could see wind gusts over 20 miles per hour at times. So outdoor burning, once again, will be discouraged not only through the rest of tonight, even though we've got those calm winds in place. Those winds pick right back up tomorrow, and it's before that rain moves in. So definitely avoid outdoor burning if you can. The rain that we were talking about, that arrives on Wednesday, and this rain, it's going to pack a punch. We've got some storms, we've got gusty winds that are likely as well. So that first alert weather day is in place. For tuning in for the first time today, this is going to be an impactful start to your Wednesday. That's why we upgraded that to a first alert weather day. Jamie, we have been talking about this Wednesday since the start of last week, and I really want to dive into this forecast and talk about the instability and what that means for our forecast here in just a few minutes.
All right, we will see you then. Rachel, thank you.